Hey guys, welcome back. So I thought I would do a live tonight. I do want to talk about so t- I've got three things we'll be discussing. I'll be showing you. But to really max out on what we will be discussing tonight. So the biggest thing I came on here about was going over. Um, so I personally am a Jurassic Park guy at heart. Um, I loved watching Jurassic Park back then. So I've seen all of them. Um, and of course I've seen all the Jurassic World movies as well. Um, because as far as there's Jurassic World 1, Fallen Kingdom, Dominion, and Rebirth. So there's actual. But I wanted to go through each of these dinosaurs. Now we're focusing on the dinos that were definitely the threats in the movie. But I do know that there was four Jurassic World movies. There was one, two, Dominion making the third movie, and then Rebirth was the fourth. Um, yeah, so Jurassic. Okay, so Jurassic Park came out in 1993 on June 11th. The Lost World came out in 1997, and Jurassic Park 3 came out in 2001. But I would actually, before we even get into this video, one of the biggest stars in all of Jurassic Park did pass away, but I wanted to give my sympathy to Sam Neill's family, aka Alan Grant himself. But being in the Jurassic World movies and also to making another really great appearance in Dominion. Actually, he was in the end of Fallen Kingdom, and then really I thought that was a cool idea about how they all, so like the Jurassic Park cast came together with the Jurassic World cast and Dominion. But my main focus tonight is recognizing I will say one of the best franchises when it comes to dinosaurs, when it comes to science. Through these dinosaurs, it's unbelievable. But I thought we would talk about the big antagonist dinosaurs. So, meaning the dinosaurs that became a problem. Um, Meaning that when I say main antagonist dinosaurs, I mean dinosaurs that ended up killing for sport in the movies, um, inhabiting jungles with another antagonist dinosaur, and they both clash. Hybrids. I would say definitely a jungle apex predator and a dinosaur that was mutated in a lab but didn't show any killings towards people, only if it, because that's the thing, people when people abuse a dinosaur or something, they don't know what it is, especially when it was mutated in a lab. Scientists, we don't know if that dinosaur is going to attack on sight, but this is a dinosaur only to be provoked to be attacked, or only to kill when being provoked. Um, but we're going to start off with the two dinosaur, or number one, who started off the big Jurassic um movie, the T-Rex. Now, the T-Rex, I will say, in the Jurassic Park movies, definitely was the animal that broke out. And again, when Jurassic Park came out, I feel like the T-Rex was one of those iconic dinos where it broke out. Was it going to kill people? I don't. I think the T-Rex was tranquilized and put back in its enclosure, but something other than a T-Rex, like a hybrid dinosaur. So a dinosaur that is fused, or the DNA matches another dinosaur in other animals from the animal kingdom, that has been raised in captivity, is much more of a dangerous problem. Um, but Rexy, I will say in the Lost World Jurassic Park movie, when they captured that baby dino, that baby T Rex. For me, that's the thing, is coexisting with a T Rex versus the others. Even though obviously the T Rex was gonna be, I mean, it actually on the planet it has the most powerful bite force of any dino. Actually, for me, I kind of look at it as the most powerful bite force, than animals we have today, rather than the most powerful animals or one of the powerful bite forces of any animal, because that would exclude out other theropod dinosaurs. But as far as current animals that live today, the T Rex had the most powerful bite force. But again, I like how they used Rexy in the two Jurassic Park movies. They had him more as he escapes his enclosure, scared. There's like a thunderstorm. He breaks into, what is it, the Jurassic Park. But I know at one point it was either he helped them escape from the raptors, but that might have even been in the. I do know Rexy was not that dinosaur where everybody. I feel like similar with the raptors in Jurassic World. It was really the trust and knowing what a T Rex is gonna do, and them knowing what a human's gonna do. I never really saw the T Rex in the first movie as a killing machine like the Indominus Rex. Now, again, the Indominus. So, when Jurassic World came about, all of those bad dinos were some. Were a hybrid um, between two dinos and maybe other animals we have today fused in their DNA, making them have abilities, and I will say really abilities from the animal kingdom. But the T Rex, I will say, is always that. I feel like you can't have Jurassic Park without an icon dinosaur, and that's the thing that Rexy has been in everything. Starting his debut in Jurassic Park all the way to where we are now, since we just ended with Rebirth. I know there's going to be another movie in the works soon. I think they pushed the next Jurassic World movie for 2028, but Rec I mean, yeah. But in Jurassic Park 3, now this is a really cool. Jurassic Park 3, out of all three Jurassic Park movies, not including Jurassic World, number 3 was my favorite. Because I do remember in that movie, of course, there was a boy, so it was the son of the two parents that went to the Lost World, but I think he had a runaway or run off. But what is it? Alan Grant went to go look for him. But again, Jurassic Park 3 was really when they added another, more of like having the T Rex, but also having the largest recorded theropod, that is, which was the Spinosaurus. And it is true that the Spinosaurus is the largest. Um it was the largest theropod, but theory is that as how humans evolve, dinosaurs, they come from birds and reptiles, so they're going to evolve into maybe having a hunched body into an upright body. So is really key in a dinosaur structure, how that dinosaur is going to be structured. And a good way of looking at it is looking at the phases from a tadpole to a frog. Um, but again, the Spinosaurus, I felt like, because the thing is, Jurassic Park 3 was like at like adding in. I mean, that was like the first dot where we got introduced into another bigger theropod that would be challenging the T Rex, or the T Rex having a rival. Um, and I think the Spinosaurus was a great choice. Now, I mean, I'm glad they actually considered having, because the thing is, the Spinosaurus was also in Rebirth, but you noticed in that movie, and this is something I did notice, is in Jurassic Park 3, the Spinosaurus was, and this is where I feel like Jurassic World and Jurassic Park really have had that structure. And with dinosaurs, being real life forms, you know, before human culture, way before human culture, it shows you like the adaptation of like possibly going through. I mean, between these animals being the ancestor of birds and reptiles and even amphibians, they have a cycle that is continuous. Maybe not, but that's the thing, is they go through a cycle just like you would see a frog um cycle through stages from a tadpole to something else, or metamorphosis, changing obviously the shape or the structure of the animal. But it's not so much what we do to, it's the animal evolving, which is beautiful to see. But again, I feel like between, from the Spinosaurus we got in Jurassic World 3, where it was more land dwelling, it was mainly on the ground in the jungle, was way different than what we saw in Rebirth, where I feel like, as I said, and this was actually the same island too, if I remember correctly. So the direct approach, I feel like, was all those dinosaurs had of, because like 17 years went by. So like, yeah, that island, I feel like a lot of the dinosaurs would have already evolved. And really seeing how they hunted, really when they were going after the boat in that movie, was like, I can't picture a Spinosaurus, at least when I think of a Spinosaurus, I can't think of them hunting in groups like that, like wolves or like a pack. But and I've always interpreted Spinosaurus. I mean, since they're the largest theropod, I mean, I would have thought like nothing would be like they're an apex predator, meaning if another theropod wants, I mean, the Spinosaurus is gonna reign supreme every time, meaning that it's a dinosaur that can't be hunted. But I think they did a really good job in Jurassic World 3, not just having the T Rex, but really starting to have another rival dinosaur. Because I've noticed with the Jurassic Park movies, every dinosaur they have is either an enhanced version of that previous, like Rexy, for example. So, other than Jurassic Park 3, I think that was the starting point of developing a rival, but they went with another species instead of fusing a one dinosaur and another together with some animal kingdom DNA amongst the two dinosaurs and creating one life form that was raised and kept. It was raised in a lab in an egg in an incubator, compared to something like a Spinosaurus, where in nature predators are hunted from other bigger, predators bigger than them. It would be basically me stating that, like, and knowing this through animals, is wolves and tigers, for example, in Russia share the same habitat. We all think, and they're both apex predators for different reasons. Tigers, they're strong. Could they kill a single wolf? Absolutely. But what many people also don't understand is when there's an animal that travels in packs and functions as a family, as a group, is another way of looking at an apex predator. Numbers, numbers, numbers within the, because that's the thing. If it's a group of wolves and they're hunting, they're fighting with a big bear or like a tiger, we still can't erase the role that, and we nobody has the right to do that, is erasing the role, because tigers are apex predators, but so are wolves. But each animal has a different structure of how they are an apex predator. Tigers, that's the thing. Siberian tigers, their tigers are built for muscle, and that's the thing, is they're big cats, and they're the largest cat in the world. Would they screw with a pack of wolves? I feel like if the wolves came up to what I will say, if, which I've never really heard about this. I mean, it may happen. But like, say if a tiger had killed a boar or a deer, and the wolves came over and share, that tiger would be chasing them off more than likely. Or, as I said, it could be reversed where the tiger feels outnumbered by all the wolves coming in. depending if the tiger decides whether or not it's worth fighting over. Sometimes you have to think a tiger has to eat, wolves have to eat, every predator has to eat, we have to eat, carnivorous dinosaurs have to eat. But one of the basic things about, or really what about the things about the Spinosaurus, and it's similar. It's the T-Rex being an apex predator, but then you've got something bigger than a T-Rex that is not a hybrid or a mutated dinosaur. It's its own species, but it's two apex theropods in one movie. And they're both their own species. They're not hybrids. They're not cross species. I will say that Jurassic Park 3 was a really great movie, and I do have that on DVD, but I can't tell you other than that Jurassic Park 3, I liked them better than the first two. That movie better than the first two. But going into Jurassic World, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, um, but the first Jurassic World movie was very interesting because it had a different approach. It had one apex, two actually technically, since Rexy never. The thing is, when you have a T Rex, right? It never leaves a big collection of movies. It's an iconic dinosaur. If you didn't have a T Rex in a movie, you would see everyone watching the movie. And I feel like this would be happening even the movie being first announced. I don't see a T Rex. I don't see the iconic child influenced animal on screen. But Jurassic World came with some incredible surprises. One of the things I will say is that when they have the Indominus Rex, which the Indominus Rex was one dinosaur, but in the lab, since it was created in the lab, it had the DNA of a T Rex. It had the DNA, obviously, later on in the movie that it was also part raptor. So between it being part T Rex and part raptor, it had DNA. It had DNA that was fused into other animals we have today in the animal kingdom, and two of those animals that were mentioned that helped make the Indominus Rex were a cuttlefish and a frog. A tree frog, I think, was the other one. But that's the thing is this dinosaur's abilities came from animals we have today. And it was fused with two dinosaurs that, as I said, definitely bigger than a T Rex. And it was part raptor, meaning that it could speak to raptors and command them, as you saw in the movie. But having something as big or really as skilled as the Indominus Rex, I will say in that movie how that one dinosaur fooled everyone, meaning that when they went in the enclosure, and I mean, and the fool was they had seen these claw. So Chris had seen a big claw mark on the cement wall as they were going inside, like in and they were all freaked out that the dinosaur escaped. But here's where they were wrong: is that this dinosaur, as I said, was equipped with camouflage with the cuttlefish. So that dinosaur marked the walls, making Chris, the security guard, um, to fool them to think that she escaped. But she was still in the enclosure with them, but she was camouflaged. Now, a dinosaur that fooled every and managed to fit her way through those doors as they were getting away, leaving the enclosure. I mean, that's the thing. If that was real life, you had a zookeeper going there, maybe a couple of them feeding and cleaning the enclosure, and you didn't see anything. Because that's the thing, that dinosaur wanted to fool everyone thinking she escaped by marking up the walls, but I remember Claire had was what was it driving to them while they were saying that she escaped, and Claire's like she has her tracker still implanted, and she calls up the office, the Jurassic office, and they had, so the tracker is still in her, so they can pinpoint where she is, and sure enough, she was there in the enclosure with them all that time. But again, this was a highly intelligent animal, and how, as Chris Pratt said, this dinosaur was marking that up, marking the walls up, everything to make it look like the worst, that she escaped, but she was still in there. And once obviously her escape route was there, but imagine that a dinosaur that is fused with two different animals from the animal kingdom, along with the T-Rex and the raptor, the velociraptor. It's remarkable to me how that dino was able to evade capture, was going around the park. But even another big thing is that Chris had said, or Owen in the movie had said that she's seeing this all in real time, and you know, you raised a you what was it? What did he use? He's like, you raised her in a lab, meaning that she was born in captivity from an egg in a lab, and they kept her there and built her a enclosure. But crazy of how it sounds, you know. And another thing that honestly it was a bit sad. I mean, it was definitely sad. But as she was going around the park, um, she there were these apatosaurus all like dead. Well, they were dying, but unfortunately it was due to the Indominus because she wasn't hunting for food. She was hunting for sport. And that was the most dangerous thing, at least for me in the movie, is knowing that she's a big dino, bigger than a T-Rex. She's going out not feeding on these other dinosaurs, but again, she's killing to kill. But seeing those dead apatosaurus, I mean, a crap ton of them with their throats and their bodies slashed, was just awful. The thing is, though, the fact that she also killed an ankylosaurus was very surprising too. But between the apatosaurus and the ankylosaurus, I mean, that ankylosaurus has bone armor. So if she wouldn't be able, she would break her teeth on that armor. But as I said, since as I said, she was born in captivity. She's a dinosaur. She's gonna kill, but it isn't normal for an animal to kill and not eat what they kill. But that's what they call hunting for sport, is an animal hunting just to hunt something without eating it or without feeding on it, on what they kill. I mean, animals now, I mean, at least that we have now, we do a lot of harm to animals. Do they want to kill us? I don't think animals like a tiger or a lion or anything like that, a bear would want to kill it. Like I can see there's always reasons why animals come in and enter human civilization. It's because we might be taking something those animals need away from them. But I can never see an animal like a leopard marking wall. And as I said, usually if leopards enter a village or they wander into a village, that's the thing is people like to trap these animals. They like to corner them for them to attack. But there's a video that I've seen many times on YouTube where a female leopard sneaks into an Indian village. Now, for me, if I was the leopard, and I feel like the leopard is probably, and that leopard's not able to speak. I'm in a village, I'm in human civilization, I need to leave, I need to go back out in the wild. They can't speak or advocate like that, like we can. Because we know if we enter a leopard's terrain or leopard habitat, we know, and obviously signs also are posted, or but we know not to enter an animal's territory, knowing because that's their home. And when we're the thing is when we have civilization with buildings and a lot of people, and that animal wanders, that animal is going to have this a same instinctual feeling: where the fuck am I, what is happening? And many of those things I caught on that video with the leopard is the reason why the leopard attacked was because the leopard felt cornered, felt like all these people that were trying to capture it with nets. That leopard's like, all right, I think I think just like maybe not willingly, like, I mean, say if there was a fly in the room right now that was buzzing over me, it would be annoying. But imagine how the leopard would feel, getting constantly poked with bamboo, people missing, basically trying to capture this animal with a net. Like that leopard is gonna freak out. That, as I said, my personal feeling with that whole video is if that cat was too scared to leave, because that's the thing, that cat is going, and they will call it berserk, but what happens when a human enters a leopard's territory, right? And that leopard can see us as a threat, or if we enter that leopard's territory or domain, are they going to lash out? I think we would know enough not to go back. Or at least whereas like leopards, or like we can kind of like discuss our plan of movement, where leopards, any kind of animal can't do that. Going into a civilized element, such as a village with a lot of people, but you have people running up to the cat, trying to throw nets on it. This animal's a lot faster and has more agility, so it's going to jump over those nets. But as I said, you have a cornered animal, you like a leopard, it will not hesitate. Leopards are, when they charge at something or they run, it's like a bullet out of a gun. And many people who professional hunt in Africa, they say that unlike a lion attack, lions typically focus on one person or they stay and maul one person, where a leopard, where, I mean, even one of the trackers on one of these hunts in Africa said that a leopard could maul 6 people together. Whereas, meaning that that leopard is going boom, 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 but it's an animal that's going to be fast, and even the tracker said leopards are fast, and they will pick off 6 people. They will maul 6 people at a time. But going back to like the Indominus Rex, though, like an animal, but between, like the Indominus Rex, is that she also, when she killed that Ankylosaurus too, she scratched it on the leg, and then it was awesome because it was almost like she was trying to knock the ankle, because the belly is obviously here on a big animal, and the back is, like how we would, if I was on all fours, my back would be up and my belly would be down. So an Ankylosaurus has all that bone on the back, you know. So that Indominus, I mean that Indominus Rex was like, I'm gonna hurt this. I'm gonna hurt the Ankylosaurus. Once it's hurt, I'm tipping it over. I'm gonna crush its skull. But it takes a lot of skill and strategy for an Ankylosaurus to kill one. I mean, an animal like her was incredibly intelligent, and that killing that Ankylosaurus was killing for sport. She never fed on it, fed on on that dinosaur. Like she didn't feed on any of these dinosaurs at all, which made her exactly what what the aim of this dinosaur was, is making her a killing machine, not feeding on any of these dinosaurs she killed. And it was funny, she did eat the people, like the officers that were hunting her, but didn't eat any of the dinosaurs that she killed or marked with her claws. But I feel like she was using these Apatosaurus as more like markers by scratching them up and killing them. But again, there was no bite to the throat or anything. It was all really deep slashes on every apatosaurus, and they were all down and about to die. But an animal like that, one individual, it's remarkable. But I mean, as I said, like something like the leopard, like that leopard video, and it's been out for a long time. That leopard wants to leave. That leopard, as I said, no animal wants to kill a person. And if they do, a lot of it is on us. And a lot of it has to do with injury on that animal. Because if we didn't hurt an animal like that, they would be able to go after their natural source of food, of prey. A tiger on a deer, a tiger on a boar. Whereas when we damage a tiger, and we damage a tiger enough that it can't chase things like that, it can't hunt things like that, a tiger has to eat. I would say, in my opinion, is any animal has to eat. We're considered animals too, mammals especially, but animals like tigers, they need to eat. But again, when we injure an animal like that, like a tiger, by putting a bullet, or at least breaking off teeth, or part of an animal's jaw, it's gonna, because that's the thing, animals like tigers won't be able to hunt what they want to hunt, or hunt a prey animal as opportunity, for opportunity, that is, for the thrill of the hunt. But the Indominus Rex is a great dinosaur, and to really lead Jurassic World off with that dino was very awesome. But our next dinosaur actually is another hybrid for the sequel of Jurassic World, but it's the uh, DNA of Blue, the Velociraptor, or in the Indominus Rex. But they called it the Indoraptor. And the Indoraptor was also created, I feel like, in the lab as well. But the thing is, this animal was created, with, or was going, I mean, I hate to say it, but they captured Blue in that movie to extract Blue's DNA into this one dinosaur. But this dinosaur is very much, I mean, it can stand like a bear. I mean, it can stand like a raptor. It can, I mean, it's fast. The red light was an ideal weapon for this Indoraptor, but I will say the Indoraptor was an interesting dino. I still need to educate myself more on the. I mean, obviously, I know it was a hybrid between a raptor and the Indominus Rex, but the plan was to extract Blue's DNA into the dinosaur. Next up, we have the Giganotosaurus, which is the next big bad dinosaur in Dominion, which was the movie that involved the cast for Jurassic World and Jurassic Park. Laura Dern came back as Ellie. Sam Neill came back as Alan Grant. And then Jeff Goldblum came back as Ian Malcolm. But the Giganotosaurus was the big bad dinosaur in that one. Actually there was three if you count the Therizinosaurus, but there was three, but he was definitely like the apex dino inhabiting the jungle. But I mean, again, another dino that I feel like was a perfect rival. Like the whole, so really they went back to something similar to Jurassic, because that movie, so Jurassic World Dominion, reminded me a lot like Jurassic Park 3, even though they had three, antagonist dinos, the large ones being Rexy again, the Giganotosaurus, and the Therizinosaurus. But I like how they said there's only one alpha or something like that, but a lot of sources say that during that final fight scene in that movie, the Therizinosaurus comes in with a broken claw, which for me, I feel like the Therizinosaurus and the Giganotosaurus probably already had fought before. So, an animal having a battle wound like that shows you how an apex predator hunts and really how they adapt. Is they're going to injure something that might be just as powerful as them, but try to. But I will say the Giganotosaurus was a great choice in that movie to have as a bad dinosaur. But moving on. So our last big dinosaur. Now I wouldn't even consider this dino a villain or a murderous dinosaur killing or being. It's a big dinosaur. I will say a lot of animals, especially animals that are facing abuse in a science lab, meaning that it was a crap ton of scientific failures. Sometimes it's not just failure. Something will happen, and it did to create this dinosaur. This was like building Frankenstein, but not using the Frankenstein parts, using more abnormal. But the thing is, we all know what mutations look like. Now, we've seen it in real life how cows can be born with, 6 legs or 8 legs instead of 4. Snakes having 2 heads than 1. But it's genetics. But there's a term for it. But this is the Distortus Rex, and this was the antagonist dinosaur for the last Jurassic World movie, Rebirth, which had a new cast of characters. Um, Really, this dinosaur, I mean, having a bulb shaped head with the two small arms of the T Rex, having these two long arms and the feet. Um, they say that this dino was a mutated T Rex, but I'm kind of wondering if this was I mean, it sounds like this was a dinosaur they were cooking up, but there was a lot of failures going about this, where none of it was successful, but something actually did hit that was successful that made this creature come to life. Because, I mean, I will say, obviously, the creation, I mean, obviously, this is something make believe, it's fictional, whereas a lot of the dinosaurs we showed were actual dinosaurs. Um, I mean, as I said, this is a mutated T Rex, maybe. But the producer for the Alien movies also came in to help design with this dinosaur as well for Jurassic World Rebirth. But it looks like the cross between an Excamorph and a T Rex. I know. But there's many indications, and at the end scene of the movie when they're evacuating the island, this dinosaur doesn't go on a killing spree. Instead, obviously when breaking out, it only attacked when provoked. It didn't attack through sport or went up and ate somebody. It was really only provoked with if somebody was trying to shoot at it. The fact that I mean, there's even cases where I feel like that this animal was like the Indominus Rex was fused with animals we have today. Like for me, I feel like this animal developed sonar maybe from a whale. Like definitely had like whale DNA. A lot of things too were that this animal was crying too. This dinosaur was crying. Now, there is definitely something. Let's just say that an animal being in a lab for 17 years, or at least, I definitely would say, I don't really know what to say about the Distortus Rex. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I feel like definitely, definitely a scientist, or really definitely something that went wrong. This animal was a mutated dinosaur of some sort and was in a lab for a number of years. but just really how it approached everybody wasn't like the Indominus, like when you saw that Indominus Rex with those special officers trying to capture it. She went right into kill mode, and obviously she was a dinosaur born in captivity, but only knew how to kill. Whereas a dinosaur like this, you would think this thing would rip you to freaking shreds, or would have done almost maybe even brutal things to other dinosaurs like the Indominus did, was a killing machine. But there was something about this dinosaur that was not so much killing. But what if this was a dinosaur that really expressed emotion, actually at least anger through emotion, or even stress through emotion and not through action? Like this dinosaur didn't, I don't know, because for me, I think many people are trying to crack this case of why that this dinosaur, this mutated dinosaur, was not like any of the others. I mean, could they have approached this dino as the Indominus, as the Indoraptor, as the Giganotosaurus? Absolutely. But every one of them had a different, really construct and behavior. Like the Giganotosaurus, I feel like wanted to be the only apex predator on the island. And who knows, that Therizinosaurus could have been a female, could have been the queen. Because that's the thing, when a queen is bruised or hurt for life, she's going to go after that person or that dinosaur that made the injury. So she's seeking revenge, where you have two, one that's an apex predator that wants to dominate, and one that's always been the king. But the Distortus Rex, I feel like the behavior signified that the animal was stressed due to being left behind. And many of those believing that any of those tests or really procedures they went with were going to all be failures. But this dinosaur actually existing, and as I said, maybe even having all, it's hard to tell. A T Rex and maybe something different, It is confirmed, though, that the Distortus Rex is not the only mutated dinosaur. But part of me, too, believes that it could be evolution. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end my live, but thank you all for watching. And, oh, by the way, there's 2 Marvel movies that were just announced today, or the day before, but we are getting a brand new Ghost Rider movie in 2028 starring Ryan Gosling. And we are also getting a Black Panther 3, which one of the new cast members, Dave someone, but he will be playing T'Challa's son, the son of Black Panther. And returning for the cast, Winston Duke is coming back, and Letitia Wright is coming back to represent her role as Shuri again. So, but looking forward to that, to those 2 movies. But thank you guys all for watching, and have a great night.